Hello, everybody!
Welcome to Historia this week.
Hope you're doing well. It's summer, so that's a plus.
It's been so freaking hot, but luckily it's been raining.
Yeah, it's rainy all week, so that's how it's going here.
So close to 4th of July, which is nice.
Oh, it is! We're like a week away, like next week, a week from today, right?
Yes, and I plan on getting drunk.
Oh, absolutely! Is it 4th of July if you don't? Just wondering.
No.
I was sick last year because I got drunk the night before, but
Heck yeah.
Not gonna do that this time. I'll do both nights.
That's my plan this year.
the whole week next week.
The whole week.
Everything's fine. Don't worry about us. We're fine.
I work all week, so I'm not gonna be like you.
Also, when you guys listen to this, it's gonna be like 2 weeks after 4th of July, so.
Oops.
Hope you had a good 4th of July. All right, we're here. We have more to talk about because we like talking words to you.
I am so excited for this week's. When I brought up the idea for Kylie, you probably had no freaking idea.
I love Egypt, but I don't know a lot of the facts. So I just love ancient Egypt. Yeah. So I was excited to research it. But yeah, it was fun to research.
This is my favorite subject by far. When I took my class, I could not put the books down.
Yeah.
So I actually have books this week.
Oh wait, you always have books. Don't say actually.
I know. I have 2 that I'm going to recommend.
All right, what books do you have, Jamie? Tell us.
This week I have, this one I heavily took from just because it goes from the beginning to the end of ancient Egypt. It's called The Rise and Fall of Ancient Egypt by Toby Wilkinson.
Okay.
It is 600 pages.
Ooh.
But it's interesting.
Yeah, that'd be fun to read.
It's kind of dry at times, but if you know anything about ancient Egypt, it's freaking so much tea.
Yeah.
A lot of incest, so beware. No, I'm giving you a Jamie ahead. What's it called?
Is that like a sneak peek?
No, it's
not trigger warning.
It is. It's kind of a trigger warning if you're
not into that.
No, caution. It's a precaution. There is incest. So, and then the next book that I took from is just called Ancient Egypt: An Introduction. It's by Salima Ikram. I love her. She's great. She's actually in a documentary on Netflix about ancient Egypt.
Oh.
She's great. I love her.
Cool.
So, those are the 2 books that I took from heavily today. There was another one, but there wasn't a lot about who I'm going to talk about. Just because I'll let you know. I will let you know.
Yeah, but this is episode 7.
Oh my gosh. Look at us.
Good.
Yay.
It's already like a second grader at this point.
Second grader.
7 years old. Except it's not years. But still.
Oh my god.
And so today we'll be talking about Egyptian queens.
I'm so excited. So I'm going to be doing a pharaoh/queen of ancient Egypt. Her name is Hatshepsut.
All right.
Can you pronounce that?
Hatshepsut?
Yeah.
Did I do good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I passed the test. All right, let's dive into her life.
Well, who are you going to talk about?
That's a surprise.
Okay.
We can't tell them yet.
Okay. So, to give Hatshepsut just a little bit of introduction, I'm going back.
Okay.
Even before her.
Oh, so we're going way back.
I'm going to give y'all a history lesson. So, I'm pretty sure you ran into this, but there are 3 main kingdom periods in ancient Egypt. Mm-hmm. You have the Old Kingdom, I believe the Sphinx was built in the Old Kingdom. It's a lot of big stuff was built during then. And then you had the Middle Kingdom, which a lot of civil war and just a lot of kind of shitty things happened during that time. And then you have the New Kingdom, which we are going to be talking about today, which was a very a rise for Egypt, you can say, but it would eventually, during the late period, you would see a lot more problems, especially when Cleopatra comes in.
Okay.
But that's a different day.
Oh, we'll definitely cover that someday.
So we're going to be, for both of us, for the ladies that we're covering, they were very close in the dynasty periods. Mm-hmm. kinda, because I think yours was the 20th.
I wrote it down, I don't remember.
19th or 20th. Mine is starting in the 18th dynasty. So the period for the New Kingdom lasted from 1539 to 1069 BCE. So before Common Era, or for, if you're looking at it, like Christianity, like before Christ existed, whatever. Before Common Era.
Whatever you want to know it as.
Yeah.
BCE, bro.
Yeah, so this period lasted for about 470 years. That's a long time, because if you count from, like, the Old Kingdom, all the other periods, like, ancient Egypt lasted a freaking long time.
Yeah.
Like, it was the rise. So the New Kingdom was a time of expansion, rebuilding, very high confidence in themselves, and then conquesting new areas. Like, that was a huge thing, especially in the 18th dynasty.
Yeah.
Big conquest. Conquesting other areas. So I'm just going to add a little bit of big events during this time that were This includes Valley of the Kings inauguration, so where all the kings are buried. Like, you can go see it now, I think. I think they may have some blocked off, but they're slowly discovering more.
That's what I found really interesting, is that it's like an ongoing discovery. Like, a lot of my stuff was found in the last, like, 10 years, and I'm like, what?
So much.
It makes sense because, you know, we're getting more technologically advanced, scientifically advanced as well.
Yeah.
So, like, it makes sense, but it's still hard to believe that, like, they're still looking for those things. It's so cool.
It's going to take years.
They'll never stop.
No.
You can't stop on history.
You can't, especially with ancient Egypt history. There's just so much of it, and they loved things. They were not minimalists. Like, if you look, like, King Tut's tomb, his tomb was small compared to everybody else's. But we wouldn't know because a lot of them were raided or robbed, which... Another one.
Interesting.
So during this time, there was also, I found this really funny. I need to look further into this because we only touched on it briefly when I was going over ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
But there was a battle against the Sea Peoples.
I want to know more about that.
Yeah, because some kids in my class knew immediately who the Sea Peoples were, and I was like, who...
Like mermaids?
No, I think they were like old pirates.
Oh, that would make more sense.
That's what, because I was talking to James, my boyfriend, about the Sea Peoples, and I was trying to like describe them.
Yeah.
He was like, so you mean pirates? And I was like, but they were more than that.
I have a feeling they're like a pirate mermaid.
Well, they're like, their whole society like moved. I think along the wall. I need to look further into it. We
will do one on that. We have to.
I would love to.
I'm so curious.
Sea Peoples is just a hilarious name for them.
And we'll do like a pirate episode or something. That'd be fun.
There's so many.
Yeah.
And then the last one that I wrote down for things that were going on during this time was the beginning of tomb robberies. So this lasts for thousands of years. And we don't, like, a lot of times we don't know who robbed the tombs, but we do know some if you go to the Britain Museum. Oh! There's a lot of ancient Egypt stuff there that they took. But it's still cool to see.
Yeah.
But
it'd be fascinating.
Yeah, but that's just...
They were like, I'm going to go sneak into this tomb.
Everybody did. Well, because we even, up in Denver... There's, at the, what's it, Natural Science Museum or whatever?
Denver Museum of Science, I don't know.
Natural.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I cannot go in the, like, science space wing because I had this guy talk to me about space and I couldn't, I shut down. I was like, this is way too
I love
extreme.
Space.
I can't. That's why I don't like space movies except, like, Marvel.
Oh my god. I love space. Marvel.
But they have... I know.
Jesus. Sorry. Can't control the burps. I also haven't eaten in, like, 6 hours, so I'm feeling it.
We're eating a lot tonight.
That's the thing. I was like, I'm just going to wait till tonight to eat. So I'm just going to starve all day. But now that I'm drinking alcohol, I'm like, oh, it's going right through me.
Do you need me to drive?
No, I'll be fine.
Okay.
That's in like 2 hours.
Yeah,
we're going to be responsible, guys. Don't worry.
Anyway, but up in Denver, they have a museum section. And there's 2 actual mummies in there. Because they were brought over in the 1920s by some dude in Pueblo.
Oh.
He took them and brought them back. And so now they're in the museum up there. If you go to the Denver Museum, they have like a whole explanation on it of like him stealing them. I don't know if he stole them or if he bought them. I haven't been there in a while.
I don't know the last time I was there. Okay.
I was really excited to see it because I freaking love ancient Egypt, just anything. So I would love to go one day, but we'll see. But so I also want to add too that there were a lot of monuments being built in the capital of Thebes. So I will touch on Thebes a little bit, but for right now, that was just a huge expansion going on during this New Kingdom period.
Okay.
All right, so now I'm going to get into just like the great things that like really took place during this time was that there were no like revolutions from the people.
Mm-hmm.
That was in like the Middle Kingdom. A lot of revolts were going on. But here in this time, the only problem that was going on within the royal family, like for revolts, was of kingship.
Oh.
And Hatshepsut is one of them who just spun it around and was like, I'm going to test you. And I was like,
love
thank
that.
God. So
do we have a cute nickname for her? Or are we just going to say
we can call her Hattie.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I like that.
I would totally call her that.
All right, we're going to call her Hattie. Everyone's leaving now. They're like, all right, I'm done listening.
Because her name is kind of hard.
It is, because I was looking at my names, and I was like, I'm going to have to come up with nicknames.
Yeah, there are, because I feel like in every single language, there's just some names that you're just like, why is this letter in here?
Yes. Yeah.
I get that way with, like, French sometimes. I'm like, oh my God.
It's the same thing with, like, Karens naming their children nowadays. It's like Ashlyn Lee. It's like the most complicated spelling ever.
Oh my God, I feel bad for you because you're a teacher. You
have to
pronounce them.
And it's hard. Like my whole class last year, I'm like, I don't know any of these names. It was horrible, but anyway.
All right, so Hattie, she was the queen/pharaoh during the 18th dynasty, but now I'm going to get into how she was created.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you the talk. I'm sure your parents gave it to you. Or
see, when a boy and girl love each other, not all the time.
No.
It doesn't always have to just be boy and girl.
Thanks.
Pride Month.
Oh my God, it is!
It is, yeah. We should have done something Pride related.
Oh my God.
It's fine, because this won't even be out till mid-July, but...
This is true, but now we know. We're rude.
Yeah, we still could next time. Oh, we'll talk about it.
Next year.
Next year we'll be there.
All right. So, we're going to talk about the family first. Her family. Because it's like a whole circle of just chaos of it building up. And I could not leave this out because it's the tea.
I love chaos.
Yeah. Every single family. Every family. They all have their chaos. Okay, so Hattie's father, Hattie, was Tutmos the First. He was a lieutenant for, like a really, really successful and trustworthy lieutenant for the pharaoh at the time, Amenhotep. Amenhotep, he and his sister wife, so his wife and his sister, could not have a kid because incest. They tried, but they couldn't because the bloodline was just too deep between their DNA.
Wait.
What?
His wife and his sister.
Sister wife, yes. He married his sister. Oh, you mean
like him and his wife. I thought you meant like his wife and his sister. Like two separate people.
Oh, no.
I was like, well, obviously they can't have a child.
No, sister wife.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. Him and them. Okay.
Yeah. So, because there was so much incest in their bloodline, there was just no way that just miscarriage after miscarriage.
Yeah, science was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, no. But he loved Thutmose I. He thought he was such a trustworthy and great lieutenant. He was like, hey, when I die, I want you to become the next king. That's a big step.
Yeah.
That's huge.
No pressure.
Yeah, and Thutmose I, he was just like, thank you so much. Like, I will take great care of it. And he did. He did great for Egypt. So he took so in 1493, this is all in BCE. There's no way that it's in AD. I hope you all know. So I'm not even going to add it. Just know.
Just use your common sense.
Yes. So, and if you don't know how BCE works, it starts at like a super late date and it goes down.
Yeah, it's like backwards.
Yeah, I could not comprehend that the first year of college. I was just like, wait, why is it going down?
Yeah, because you see like their birth year and then you see the year they died and it's like, what?
Yeah, you would, because we're used to it going up.
Right.
But in this case, everything is going down.
It's like negative numbers. They go up, technically.
Yeah.
Like -2,
yeah.
to -1.
So, just so you know, that's how it works in BCE. So, in 1493, Amenhotep died. And so Thutmose took the throne.
Okay.
He did actually quite a bit in his, I think it was like 12 years as pharaoh. He did a lot. Like, he conquered Nubia. He made it, and he put, like, their territories. Like, he did a great job. Like, he was a great lieutenant. So that's what he did, was to conquer new land, to expand Egypt, which he did. And in this time, like, he had his wife and his children, his secondary wife. They all had secondary wives, or AKA like concubines. Yeah. But in his death in 1481, his heir that he chose was Thutmose II, his son. Now, this son, Thutmose II, his mother was a secondary wife.
Oh.
Was not the great royal wife. Wasn't the queen.
Yeah.
But because it was his son, and they always want a son to become the next pharaoh, that's who he chose.
Okay.
Yeah. This would cause great anger in Hattie. But, so,
she's like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, so his half-sister, so Hattie was his half-sister.
Yeah.
And she found this out and she was pissed. Let's just say she was like, oh no. But her father was like, if you want to be in line, marry him. Oh. So she did.
Oh.
She married Thutmose II.
Dang.
Yeah. And his reign did not last very long. It was literally 2 years before he died. So, that's the tea.
That is tea.
Mm-hmm.
Sip drink.
And of course, like, Hattie was just like, oh, hell yes.
So casual, Hattie.
I know. I love it. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce her. Now we got through Thutmose I, his death, leading into Thutmose II. And now we're getting into our sweet girl, Hatshepsut. So, her parents were Thutmose I, and her mother was the queen. Amos. So her name, Hattie's, Hatshepsut, is foremost of noble woman.
Okay.
So this proved that she was, like, going at it, that she was going to be a queen. And she
was. With a name like that, you gotta prove it.
Exactly. And so,
now, were they named, like, after they did things in life? Or was it, like, the name they were given?
So this was the name that they were given.
Because I know some of them, their names will change.
Yeah. A lot of them will change because of how they perceive themselves during their reign. Yeah. So you can see this in Akhenaten. Yeah. He changes his name to Aten because he changed, as you will cover. Yeah.
Person.
I believe he changed his name to reflect the sun god because that's who he forced.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I just didn't know if, like, all of them had that name or if that's just the name that, like, records have. Like, I wonder if, like, were they born with a different name?
No, a lot of the time, no, and that's why you see a lot of, like, Tutmosis first, Tutmosis second.
Yeah,
normally, like, the men would take... Name. Yeah, it's a family name.
Okay. Yeah.
But, of course, like, the women would always have, like, different names.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, come on.
Ask all the questions.
Ask all of them. I might have answers.
Very passionate about this.
I am. I love this. So, because her mother was the queen and her father, like, the pharaoh, the king, this would have made her legit.
Yeah.
Like, a legitimate child to the throne. But because it was only given to the men, this did not give it. And she was pissed about that. She was like, are you kidding me? She was like, I have to marry my brother just to become queen.
Of course.
She's like, oh my God. So, but she did it because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Which is really sad, but that's how it was. It's just, you can't rewrite history like that, even though they did. This is like the definition of, like, to the victors.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I'll go further of how she decided to rewrite some of her history. But, okay. So, during his reign, Thutmose would have his son, Thutmose III. Now, this was with his secondary wife. So, Hattie is his first wife, but they always had, like, a second wife or, like, someone else. Because you couldn't have a monogamous relationship. That's just not how it worked. Yeah. So, his secondary wife was named Iset, which also means ISIS. For all you people who don't know, ISIS is not the terrorist organization.
Jamie's face just got so angry.
Because that's what people only know ISIS for. She was the wife of Osiris.
And I was about to be like, oh, ISIS. Jamie just got so serious.
I hate it. Like, she was freaking... oh, she was great. I love her. Like, she freaking helped put her husband back together. The god of death. Like...
but everyone just thinks of the terrorist organization.
They do!
Oh my god.
I got really loud. I'm sorry.
She would look so mad. I can't get over it. Okay.
I hate that they did that. I was like, really? You couldn't have, like, called it, like, Hitler or something? I don't know.
You could have called it Hitler.
I don't... It's like, why ISIS?
I mean, you gotta think of something.
Whatever. So... And the funny thing, too, is that even though that Thutmose III was the next heir to the throne, Thutmose II and Hattie had a kid together. But it was a daughter. So literally, they could have kept the family going. But no, women couldn't be in charge.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, their daughter her name is Neffi.
Neffi.
Oh, God, they're kind of hard, but you know what? I like trying.
Oh, yeah, we love that.
So, when Thutmose II died, Thutmose III was then put into the throne.
Okay.
But he was way too young. Like, I think I looked, he was only a couple years old, but, like...
Couple years old?
It's something like that.
Oh,
he was young.
Jeez.
So there was no way that he could rule this country by himself because, like, imagine a 4-year-old being like, I want toys, or you're going off with your head. Like, no. No, that's not how it works. And so Hattie was like, okay, I'm your aunt and I'm your stepmom. I guess I'll, like, intercept and be co-regent, but, like, you kind of, like, she just kind of, like, pushed him off to the side. Which, like, I mean, you were technically next in line, but were, like, out. You were pushed aside by your half-brother.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't blame her, even though it's just, it would kind of backfire and later on. So, she would then become co-regent with Mr. Thutmose III. And within 7 years, she would actually insert herself to become king / queen.
Love that for her.
Yeah, like she literally defied tradition and was like, add me to the king's list. I'm here. I'm in charge.
Yes.
And of course, like, not a lot of people supported this. Everybody didn't support this, pretty much. They were just like, what the heck are you doing? And she was like, I'm going to prove to you that I could be a good king. And I mean, I think she did well for her, but I think when they were thinking of expansion and keeping everybody out, or just like all of the people who were against them, I think she didn't do a good job at that. But that's what Thutmose III was for.
Right.
He was the one who handled the military. She kind of pushed him to military. It was like, go figure that out. I'm going to stay here in your throne.
I guess they both had their own job.
Yeah. But, so, at this time, she would become the second pharaoh to rule, or female pharaoh to rule Egypt.
Yeah.
The first one was, oh my god, her name is so hard. It's like, Seberefruit.
So it's that one then?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know. Y'all gotta look her up. Like.
Sobenefriku. Okay. Pronunciation.
Sobenefru.
Oh, so you just want to say the K. So
no.
Yeah, Sobenefru.
Like, it's not a bad name.
Sobenefru.
Yeah. Call her Sobi.
Sobi, yeah.
I like it. Good lord. So, now it is tradition for the queen to be a regent to, like, the heir until they are old enough. But Hattie was like, nah. So, she did everything to, like, her advisor. She was like, how can I gain my people's trust to become a king? Like, I want to make sure that I am doing everything that I can right.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to help you out. Here we go. And so it first started with her only being recognized as, like, Thutmose III's stepmother / aunt. And she was like, we got to get rid of that title. Yeah. I don't want anything to do with that. And so she put so much determination and just effort to make that title go away. So she started giving herself, like, different official titles. And then when she put on that kingship, she was like, I'm more than just his stepmom and aunt. Like, I'm the king now. I'm the higher up. I'm the pharaoh.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, shit,
don't
lady.
mess with her.
No. You really honestly did not want to mess with her. So now she was sharing the throne with Thutmose III, but he was still too young to really, like, overthrow her.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that he didn't overthrow her, she just died. So, or that's what we know of. Like, it's really hard to get a solid story.
It's a theory, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's from what we have found on the hieroglyphs, which are freaking hard as hell to read in the first place. God, I tried to in my class, and I was like, oh, I don't know.
They could find more evidence, too, within, like, a few years, you know, like...
Exactly.
It could change every day.
Exactly. Because there could always be new things to find.
Yeah.
And luckily, they put everything in writing. Or hieroglyphs, you should say. They put it on everything, like on all of their walls. They put it in art. Like, that's how we know, because they transcribed everything, which is great. So, now to be more legitimate to her people, she twisted her birth story. Now, we know that she was daughter of Thutmose I.
Yeah.
But she changed it to give her a more divine birth. So now she was saying, I am the daughter of Amun-Ra, who is a god.
Okay.
And so she was like, I am his daughter. I belong on this throne. I am going to rule you. I will be great. And she loved it. She loved this story that they had created for her, that she was the daughter of this god, and that she was rightful to be in that throne. And that's what you had to do, because then the people would be like, oh my god, they believed anything. Of course,
Oh,
you've got, like,
sure.
the few gossip ladies who are like, are you kidding me?
Let's check the receipts.
Let's check the receipts. Oh, God. So, in this time, too, she rewrote that she was the firstborn out of all of them, but I don't believe she was. But she was like, hey, I'm the firstborn out of all of the kids. I need to be queen. I should be queen. And they're like, well, I don't know. And she completely discarded any existence of Tutmos II.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, she never said anything about him. She was just like, I guess he was my husband. She's like, I don't care. It's me. It's all about me.
It's all about me.
Yes.
That
she's
seems
like,
to be her thing.
Yeah, she's kind of like Sharpay Evans.
From High School Musical, yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, God, that's a terrible
I want fabulous.
That's what she wanted, though. She worked on more cosmetic work of her country than anything.
Ooh,
out of her
is
reign.
The Sharpay.
She is. She's great. But I don't think she was blonde.
Mine's like the Gabriella.
All right. So, people were starting to accept her, but it all came down to her gender. They could not accept that. They're like, you're a female. We can't have you ruling. And she was just like, okay, I'll be a man too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, she literally just was like, I don't care if I have to be a man in your eyes. I will do anything to stay on this throne. Like, she went, like, all in. Like, she dressed as a man.
She Mulan that shit.
She did! She would wear, like, the chin piece that they would wear. I know there's specific names for these. Do not come at me. But, yeah, there's chin pieces. Then they always have, the pharaohs have, like, their headdresses. Yeah. Like, she wore the whole garb of just being a man. And her monuments showed this, too. Like, that's why, like, a lot of Egyptologists, when they first discovered her, just, like, her existence, they were like, is this a man or a woman? I am so sorry. We moved our... I'm so sorry. We moved our thing into my cat's room, and she has an auto feeder.
Does it just do every hour or what?
No. She would be super fat. No, it does. I have set times for her, and 7 o'clock.
It just starts coming out.
Yeah.
Jeez, that was cool.
She gets fed 4 times a day.
She just went straight to it.
Oh, yeah. If she's out there and she hears us, she books it in here. Like, whatever she's doing, she'll be like, see ya, I'm gonna go eat.
So it goes off at 6:44?
Well, I had it for 7, but it likes to be early. Honestly, I just don't care anymore. I'm like, as long as she's eating 4 times.
Wow. You're eating good, Ruby.
Yeah, she is. That's why she's actually lost weight.
Yeah.
She looks better. Okay, where was I? God, I lost my place. Okay, so now she was seeing herself both as, like, a male and female, and she was dressing like it, too.
Oh, you were talking about how people thought that they didn't know if she was male or female.
Yeah, so, and, because a lot of it, she would either be written as, like, female.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, okay, and then when they would see, like, any of, like, her monuments, her statues and stuff, and then in some, like, different transcripts, they're like, but it's saying that she's male. So she obviously portrayed herself as both because she wanted the people to trust her because she was male.
Yeah.
But she was also female, so she had, like, both sides. So she wasn't fighting so much of just, like, let me be a female as Pharaoh. She was like, okay, I'll compromise with you.
Yeah.
Let me just say that I'm male even though I'm not.
Oh,
it's pretty much tricking the people, I guess you could say. So, as her time as monarch, she had different motives for her ruling. She didn't want to expand or conquer any other place like her father had.
Yeah.
She wanted to show how much her country has grown. And so she started to add temples and other monuments, obelisks, if you know what that is. It's like a ginormous, the Washington Monument? Mm-hmm. That's like an obelisk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I believe one of them was not finished, but she had those built. She had her very own temple, which I'm excited to get into. But she just, like, completely rebuilt Thebes, the capital. She would put shrines to the gods. She just expanded the city to just new heights of it being beautiful and just being filled with just her.
Yeah.
But also just like her memory, or just making Egypt look more wealthy. Even though it was quite wealthy, she just wanted to build more within her walls instead of out of them.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like, you have enemies that are like, this lady's ruling and just building shit. Let's go take it down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to stop her.
But I don't think that ever happened, though, during her reign, but it was also becoming more threats that this was going to happen. And so, of course, that just kind of made more people on edge, as she's just like, let's build more. And they're like, but we have enemies. And she's like, I don't care, let's build. And so she did. Now, she updated a temple that was to Amun-Ra, because she said that was her father, so she completely updated it. She made it bigger, more extravagant. It was a temple in Hatshepsut. Yeah. So this was making it a national shrine.
Okay.
So she was just like, you gotta do this. But I would say her most successful and just biggest probably thing that she did during her reign was her funerary temple. Mm-hmm. I want to visit this place so bad. It looks so cool. I believe they found the Book of the Dead there. One of them. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. So, now, this funerary temple was at Deir el-Bahri. It is huge. If you don't like stairs like me, it might be a struggle, but luckily it's on like below sea level, so I should be good.
It's not like the incline here.
No. But it's huge. It's like pushed up to a cliff. And during that time, I believe, it was just beautiful. It was because it was colorful.
Yeah.
You probably aren't aware from if you look at pictures, but ancient Egypt was colorful.
Yeah.
It was so vibrant. But of course, over time, thousands of years, and then being exposed to the sun and the heat, that stuff's gonna dry up and just disappear. Like when they open tombs, if they don't properly, ventilate them, that the painting that they see will instantly dry up and just fall. So it'll just be gone. And it'll just be the outlines that we see in a lot of them. But every single thing was just beautiful and painted. So I can imagine just like how beautiful this temple was. So this temple had close connection to the mother goddess and guardian of kingship, Hathor. I would love to do Hathor in one of our mythology episodes. I think she would be a great one. There's so much onto her, especially Egypt mythology. There's so many
Maybe we'll
gods.
do that next.
Who knows? We'll see.
We'll have to see.
Let us know. But, so this temple took about 13 years. So, like, her entire reign it took to build this temple. It was massive, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of manpower. It was it took a while. So, this also held a huge shrine for Amun-Ra. So, her father, sorta, not really, but
the guy that's kind of like her dad.
Yeah. Kind of like her dad. He's just like, good job, sport.
Just gives you dad jokes and then leaves.
Pretty much. So, this held like a huge shrine, but she also had other shrines that I'll mention a little bit later of who. But so this place also held the Festival of Opet as well. The festival was kind of like around, and then it would like kind of end up there.
Yeah.
And then there was another Festival of the Valley. This was huge, and it was absolutely beautiful, as they were explaining. So shrines that were also included were of Anubis. And, of course, they also had Hathor because she was a huge proponent for Hathor.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, most queens, kings, they all take to a specific god or goddess that they tend to prefer more. You'll see that in their clothing, who they will like.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's like their idols. Like,
exactly.
They're going to look up to that.
Exactly. And of course they all, like, everybody kind of worshipped all of them, but there was always one that they would choose to go to the most, that they would want to be, I guess, compared to, I guess you could say. So hers was Hathor, and so she, of course, had to have a shrine for her. So there was also a tribute to her father, Thutmose I, because she still loved her father. And she wanted in her funerary temple to still represent, like, how great of a pharaoh that he was. And so she added that, and even, like, her story is all over in that temple of just from her divine birth to just her reign. Because that's what, when you're a pharaoh, when you're ruling, even as, like, a queen, what you build during your time, you're going to put your whole story into it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's why if you go to, like, the Sphinx was, I would like to get into the Sphinx, but that was built from a son to his father. And so everything has a story behind it. And her temple was a story for her, of her reign. She wanted to be remembered, no matter what. This would be a problem. So this was this temple was motivation of her to just keep building and just to really expand within their walls of just making everything big, bold, and
beautiful.
Yeah. I think that's a soap opera. No, that's Bold and Beautiful. I make Layla watch it sometimes when I'm gone.
Layla's really into it.
So with every queen, she needs her architect.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, her architect, his name was Sinenmut. Now, they were super close. Like, he was in charge of every project that she built. Like, he was really important. It was even rumored they were getting it on.
I was going to ask about that.
But it was never, like, notified. But he never had a wife, and he never had children. So.
Interesting.
That's the tea.
It could have been.
It could have been. We don't know. We don't know. So, this was like, just leading, like, her whole reign. Now, eventually, her reign did have to fall. Now, it came to an end in 1458. I believe she died there. I couldn't really find anything on just, like, why, and I don't think they really know why. I think she just died because that happens.
Right.
Especially if she was wearing a lot of makeup, that poison could have easily killed them because that's how makeup was back then. Up until, I think, the 1950s.
It's dangerous. Stuff.
Yeah, makeup was. I would like to do an episode on that.
Oh, we should do, like, the history of makeup. That'd be fun.
That would be fun because there is a lot in that.
Do, like, fashion and makeup.
Ooh, yeah. Fashion. Oh.
Yeah, because it changes so fast.
Yes. Yes, it does. So, over time, she was erased from her monuments. Like, it started to, like her heads would be smashed in, or if they would be changed. And it's rumored that it was by her stepson, Thutmose III. Because I think that was his petty way of getting back at her, like, because she wanted to be remembered so much as king.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He wanted to be like, no, you're dead now. you freaking never said anything about my father. You pretty much pushed me to the side. I'm going to do the same to you. And so he pretty much, I don't think they ever found her body unless it was robbed. Because she's not buried in Valley of the Kings from what I know.
Really?
Yeah, because she would either have to be buried in Valley of the Queens.
Yeah.
But she technically wasn't a queen. Like, she was a queen,
as well.
but she was a king. Yeah, so it's like, where was she buried at her temple?
Are you?
Yeah. I don't think they found her. If I'm wrong, let me know. I'm curious. I don't think I looked, because it didn't say anything in my research.
You would have probably seen it, unless it happened very recently, but...
Yeah.
Even then.
I could have dug a little deeper, but I did as much as I could. I wanted to focus a lot on her reign.
Yeah.
But, so... I think this was like a huge problem that she was king, that they'd even put her on the king's list.
Oh.
Yeah, because the king's list had everybody on it. Like, who
She's
ruled.
not even on that?
No, they completely erased her. They wanted no one to know that she took throne. But of course, like, you can't hide that. She has freaking obelisks and just, like, huge monuments. And I think that's when they found her temple at Deir el-Bahri. They found that, oh God, her history is way deeper than what they were trying to erase. So there was more to her. And I was like, whoo, they got, whoo. So, yeah, like, I'm sure they're still trying to find more about her. But, yeah, she became forgotten until Egyptologists discovered more about her. And there's just so much to her in her reign. There was, like, she did a lot. But, of course, it wasn't what a lot of people would be like, oh, she didn't really care about, like, the military aspect of it. And it's like, no, that's what Thutmose III was for. And he did well.
Yeah.
For military. He was a huge military leader. So I was like, who knows if that would have happened if Hattie didn't come in and was like,
you changed her name.
What did I call her?
It was Hattie. You said Hattie.
Oh.
She has a new nickname.
I guess so. I keep changing it. My bad. So that is my lovely story of Hatshepsut. She is great. We will remember her. I still want to go to her temple so bad.
That's so cool. Oh my God, visiting Egypt.
Yeah.
Yas.
Now tell me, who are you covering?
Okay, guys. So, we're now going to move into another queen. And her name is Nefertiti.
I love her.
Now, you had to know that one of us was going to be doing her.
Oh, heck yeah.
Because, yeah, queen. All right, literally. Her name actually defines as the beautiful woman has come. And so that name kind of has some extravagance later. Like, I'll kind of talk about that. But it's also translated as the beautiful one and the perfect one. So.
I mean,
yeah.
She kind of was.
Right. Okay. She was known for her beauty. But there's a lot more to her than that. This girl was intense. She was the Queen of Egypt and wife of King Amenhotep IV. So that's just the basics of her. But early Egyptologists believe that she must have been a princess from Syria. So we have some other theories because they aren't quite sure specifically where she came from. Yeah. They don't have a lot on her family. Because I looked everywhere and they just have theories basically.
That's all you can have.
Yeah. So one theory, again, is that she must have been a princess from Syria. Mm-hmm. There's also another theory that she was the Egyptian-born daughter of the Countier I, who became pharaoh after the death of King Tut. Okay. So they think that could possibly be his daughter. There's a lot of genealogy.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, and he's also the brother of King Akhenaten's mother. So when I wrote that, I was like, there's a lot going on. Connect the dots. But yeah, so that's another theory. So either a princess, maybe, or she actually was from Egypt, born daughter of the Countier I. The other one, well, another fact was that they kind of figured out that she had a younger sister named Mujomet. That's probably right. We're going to go with that. So they found that, but they haven't really been able to find much more about her family. So, again, just some theories.
I'm so sorry. I'm not helping. Gotta get comfortable.
This is kind of out of order, but she did, fun fact, she bore 6 daughters within 10 years of her marriage. That's quick.
And she survived?
Yeah. That's quick.
That, especially with no medical.
Yeah. The elder 3. So the older 3 were born at Thebes, and then the younger were born at Akhetaten. I said that wrong. Is that what it's called? These words. I thought mythology was hard. Pronouncing. I just gotta say with confidence.
Imagine if you saw the name in like hieroglyphs.
And then 2 of her daughters became queens of Egypt. So, obviously. But, they have a speculation that she might have also had one son.
Oh.
And I'll talk about that
the tea.
Later. The earliest images of her come from the Theban tombs where she is shown with her husband. So, a lot of them are shown. What was different about them is that, like, they co-ruled, basically.
Yeah.
And they show genuine love for each other. So,
that's rare.
Yeah, normally it was just like, okay, they're king and queen. But, like, you could actually see in the images that, like, they actually were in love. Which I found really fascinating. So, a lot of the images of her are pictured with him. Oh. He's a huge part of her reign. So, because they were kind of tag team in it.
Heck yeah!
Yeah, so they were a pretty solid team. Not gonna lie. When they were ruling together, they got rid of old gods, and they even set up a new religion.
Of course they did.
So, that gave them power, and I'll talk specifically about what that is. This is just kind of an introduction. But it gave them power, and it also didn't go over too well. So stay tuned. So she married him when she was only 15 years old.
Surprised? I think not.
I know, right? Surprise, surprise. And then, of course, the first 10 years is when she had the 6 daughters. So,
oh my god.
She was done having kids at the age of 21. Or no, that's bad math. 25. 25. That's so young. Kids. Having 6 kids before 25? Sheesh.
I'm not even on 1 and I'm 23.
I found this interesting. When they got married, Amenhotep wasn't a pharaoh yet. But he ascended quickly. Mm-hmm. So, I thought that was interesting. But both of them were believed to have ruled from 1353 to 1336 BC. Okay. And again, backwards years compared to what we're used to.
Don't you just love that? Freaking confuses me sometimes.
They lived in various places, so they were kind of all over the place. A lot of the places that they lived in were in Karnak. They were also lived in a temple that ended up being devoted to her.
Yeah.
Called Gimpaten? I don't know. All right. So when they were there, they actually had a celebration, is what people believe, because there's been a lot of images found at this temple. So they actually found a lot of images of them, like, looking over the crowd that was there to celebrate their 3rd year reigning.
Nice.
So they had, like, this huge thing, and there's tons of pictures from it, which is really cool. But you see, like, both of them ruling, obviously, and then they have their 6 kids with them. And they're all, like, little babies.
I always love looking at those, like, depictions because you have, like, a big person, like, doing whatever, and then it looks exactly like them, but they're, like, little tiny figurines of them. They're so funny.
Yeah, they don't really look like real kids.
No, they look nothing like children. But I love how small they are.
I'm burping now. Woo! But yeah, like I said, a lot of the artwork really depicts the couple as inseparable. And it also showed them kissing in public. So scandalous.
Oh.
Don't tell the others.
Don't tell them.
But again, that was like, compared to the rest of the couples.
Yeah.
Especially like the royal couples, like, woo.
Woo-hoo.
Pretty intense.
Yep.
Now, she is actually believed to have been faithful to her husband. So.
Really?
Yeah. So that's another thing that was kind of rare. Is she was known to be more faithful.
Well, the question is, was he?
That's a good question, because he is known to have fathered children with other women.
Not surprised.
So, no. He was not the same. But she was like, you know what? I'm just going to be faithful.
Well, she had 6 kids that she was probably watching after.
Yeah. She was known to be more powerful than previous Egyptian queens. She just had a ton of power in the decisions that she made throughout her reign. These were some titles that were given to her. These are just a few.
Yeah.
But these were the main ones. She was known as Lady of Grace, Great of Praises, Hereditary Princess, Sweet of Love, Lady of the Two Lands, and Mistress of Upper and Lower Egypt, which that last one is probably one of her main titles. But I just found those really fascinating. Some of them sound like band names.
Yeah, Hatshepsut was the Lady of Two Lands.
Really?
I'm guessing for Two Lands, I believe it was Lower and Upper Egypt.
Yeah.
If you don't know, it's so weird how it goes, but Upper Egypt was further into Egypt. Lower Egypt was up towards the border of the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay, yeah. So it's like opposite.
It's weird. That I could not, like, when I first saw that, I was like, why is Upper Egypt further in? You would think that's Lower Egypt of how the Nile is, but that's how they saw it.
I mean, it's similar to, like, on theater, stage directions are, like, opposite.
Yeah.
It's, like, up and down is, like, different than what you think. I just thought of that. All right. But, yeah, so, again, opposite. Kind of. Okay, so she was in charge of and involved in all aspects of the royal court. So, again, she had a ton of power, so she could make those decisions. She was like, I'm in charge. I got my husband, but, like, I can do everything he can do.
She actually took her role seriously.
She did, yeah. She definitely was responsible in it. She had the role of high priestess.
Nice.
Yeah, which is like, woo!
That's a big title.
It is. The faithful had to come to her to gain access to the god Aten through her.
Aten.
Aten. Well, I mean, that's the American way. I don't know. Aten. So they.
You put so much force into
it. So yeah, that was the only way that they could like communicate.
Yeah.
Is by going to her. So I was like, yes, so much power.
Gotta love it.
So yeah, she was central to a lot of religious practices. There's a lot of contemporary art depicted of her wearing a pharaoh's crown. So some people think because they have that crown, because she's wearing that crown, and it's like that famous like blue crown. Some archaeologists think that she may have had the powers of a pharaoh, which is again seen as an equal to her husband.
Well, yeah, if they're working as like a power duo,
yeah,
he was probably fucking another woman, and he was probably like, "Hey, I'm gonna be gone for a couple days. You want to take it?" And she's like, "I got you." I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Honestly, probably. But that's kind of how they knew that she was like she had as much power as him because of her crown that she was wearing.
Okay.
So I found that interesting.
Yeah.
But some think that she even ruled alone after her husband's death, which I'll talk about that a little bit later too. So she might have even ruled as king and queen as well.
I mean,
for a short period of time.
She had other examples to go off of.
Right. I also thought this was interesting. There's also images of her shown striking prisoners with like some kind of weapon back then. So it kind of shows that she could have been like a royal enforcer of sorts, or she just honestly liked to torture prisoners. Who knows? Ooh. But another way she used her power. So
yeah, she did.
She was like, I'm gonna get ya.
Oh my god.
When Amenhotep, I'm saying it like that because I don't care. When Amenhotep IV became the pharaoh, he inherited a kingdom and then changed Egypt with the help of, we should call her Neffi.
Yes!
Okay,
I love
it. Basically, when he was actually ruling now. So again, he wasn't when they first started getting married, but now that he actually is, and he's pharaoh, they decided to inherit the kingdom and basically wanted to change everything about Egypt. That was kind of their goal.
I mean, that's what every single pharaoh did.
Yeah. And it's also, like, with the help of Neffi, but I'm like, more like you helped her.
Right.
Because she was, like, above you, but nobody wants to talk about that.
I mean, did he even want to become king?
Probably not. It's just a family thing.
Yeah.
It's like when you're, like, your family's doctors and you feel like you have to be a doctor, so you have to go through school.
Yeah.
Even if you actually don't want to, but you don't want to let the family down. Or, like, in the movies, like, the dad's the mechanic and you have to work at his shop. You can't go to college.
Wow, that sounds personal.
No, it's been in movies. Like, it's in a lot of, like, teen movies. It's like...
Teen movies.
It's like, my dad wants me to take over the shop. I can't go to college. Okay, anyway.
Every Netflix film.
Right? Exactly. They're like, I want to go to Juilliard, but...
No, they all want to go to freaking, like, super rich colleges.
And it's like...
That's not reality. Not everyone wants to go there.
And they would not get accepted. Going back to High School Musical, they would not have gotten accepted to Juilliard for singing one song at a talent show.
Who did that? I don't remember the third one.
Troy and Gabriella both got accepted to Juilliard, I'm pretty sure.
You're kidding me.
For doing nothing. They don't play instruments. They literally sang, like, 2 times. You don't get accepted to Juilliard for
Disney
singing.
Channel.
I know, it just made me so
Hollywood
mad.
just being false.
Yeah.
Are you surprised? I am not.
So, during their reign, they, again, I mentioned this, but they changed the religion, which was huge. When you're worshiping something for a long time, and then somebody comes in and they're like, hey, we're actually going to worship this instead. So, that's basically what they did. So, now they changed it to worship of the sun. And the god... Amen? Amen.
Oh, God, I'm
Is that what you're going to do? Amen.
Amun.
Amun?
Amun.
Amen. I just love how you just say everything French.
I don't mean to. Maybe I should take French.
You can speak French really well, I feel like.
I mean... French is hard, though.
Okay. So yeah, they changed... I keep getting sidetracked. They changed their religion to worship of the sun. So what used to be the god of named Amun was replaced with a god Aten. Did I say it to your standards yet?
No.
So when they now had the new god Aten, the new capital Akhenaten, or it was like Akhenaten. I think they said the second one differently, but it's like... Anyway, a new capital was created.
Oh, shit.
For Aten.
That probably pissed off everybody.
Oh, yeah. Because they were literally taking the old gods and, like, everything of the old tradition and, like, throwing it away. Like, you've believed this? Too bad. Like, and they were forcing people to stop believing that.
Old.
Yeah.
Reminds me of World War II.
Just a little bit, yeah. But yeah, they slowly removed every ounce of the old gods from society. Meaning, no more access to their temples, nothing.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. Priests were forced to convert. So even if they, like, were still passionate about their religion, they were like, too bad. You are now doing this.
That's ballsy.
Yeah.
Because as we've known in history, religion is very serious.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Not only that, but then Pharaoh had the... just said it like it was a name.
Pharaoh?
Okay. The pharaohs.
The Smirnoff is freaking... Smirnoff, never mind.
My brain is just like...
It's hitting you hard.
I sounded like a turkey. Okay. So they actually had, with their reign and with, like, changing the religion, they actually had the one of the whole cities, which was, like, one of the biggest cities of Tel El Amarna. They actually made them worship Aten. So that means that, like, they made this place just a place for people who would follow the religion. Yeah. And then all the faithful moved there. So it was, like, their spot. But even if they were not living there, if they were living somewhere else in Egypt, they still couldn't participate in old religions, which is kind of intense.
How'd they keep tabs of that?
I don't know. I guarantee people were still...
Oh, and secret,
but they couldn't go to the temple, so it's not... They can't worship much.
Well, that's probably when they started doing it at home.
Yeah.
They would have to.
Oh, maybe.
You know, I think I have a book that looks at everyday life. I think the one from Ikram is everyday life of ancient Egyptians. And I think that might be in there.
Interesting.
If they couldn't make the temple.
Yeah. So when this was all happening and this new religion was created and, like, they had control of, like, you're going here, you're staying here, that is when they actually decided to change their own names.
Of course.
Because they're like, why not? We're so pristine. We might as well. So.
Who's going to tell them no?
Right. Nobody can tell them no. And that's the thing. Like, most of them didn't like this idea, but they couldn't be like, I hate it. They would have gotten killed.
Exactly.
So, like, you gotta just keep your mouth shut and go with it. Or die.
Yep.
That's your options. So, good luck. So they would just accept it. They were like, okay, we just gotta listen.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so when they changed their names, Amenhotep became Akhenaten, and Neffi became Neferne-Ferutat. This is the longest name I've ever seen. Neferne-Feruatan Nefertiti.
So she still kept, like, her...
it's like her name, but, like, 3 times.
Yeah, it was, like, different ways.
Yeah. Neferne-Feruatan Nefertiti. So.
She still had to add that Aten.
Yeah. And I talked about, like, her name meaning, like, the beautiful one has come.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes them think, because we're saying, like, has come, they think that she might be from a foreign land. It's like she's entered. So.
Yeah.
Because when she changed her name, that's what it meant now. Instead of just the beautiful one, it meant the beautiful one has come. So.
Okay.
Pretty fancy. Now, they were like, we are the only priests at Aten. Like, just us. So, like, if you're a priest, bye, basically.
Oh.
Yeah. They were literally the only priests.
So they became priests,
mm-hmm.
the rulers, and then head of military.
They're ruling everything.
Oh, God.
People were not fans of this situation.
At least they were never bored.
Right. But then Akhenaten, that's his new name. Akhenaten.
No, you're trying to make him sound German.
Akhenaten. I think that's how you say it, though.
Akhenaten.
Yeah, I said it right.
But then you started adding different words.
Akhenaten.
Wow.
Okay, Akhenaten began a long, expensive campaign to destroy the other religions and beliefs. Like, he wanted them to be, like, gone, gone, gone. So he was, like, actually destroying, like, cities. Like, he wanted to destroy cities. He didn't make it very far.
No way.
Because his death is coming soon. But,
not surprised.
Everyone hated him at this point. Because obviously he thinks he can just do whatever the hell he wants and ruin everything. Like, literally take their culture and just destroy it at that point. And because of his decisions of, like, wanting to destroy things, wanting to change everything, the kingdom was now in high debt. But, again, before anything could actually follow through, he died. Like, literally, like, right before they were planning on, like, destroying things, he died. So.
Freaking karma came back to him.
Yeah.
And the gods probably got pissed.
Right. And again, that was right before things could have gotten, like, super out of control.
Yeah.
And who knows what would have happened after that. So Neffi disappears from historical record after her husband dies. Like, after that, it's just theories of what happened to her after.
Well, they probably chased her out.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about some of the theories, because they're really fascinating, because it's like, okay, he died, but then it's like you don't see the couple depicted, so you don't really understand what happened to her after that. So, here's some theories. The first one is that since they created so much turmoil during their reign, obviously, many tried to actually erase their legacy. Like, they didn't even want them to be known.
Yeah.
Because I don't think she was discovered again until, like, 1912. So that could have been a possibility where they were like, let's just pretend that, like, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Get rid of them. Meaning that they could have destroyed records, they could have destroyed artifacts. like, after she died. So, like, she might have done more, but they could have just gotten destroyed.
Exactly.
So that's pretty intense.
They were good at that.
Yeah. Many also think that she might have died before him. And the proof is that their daughter, Meritaten, served as royal wife during the final years of Akhenaten's reign.
Oh.
So, like, she was now his consort.
His own daughter?
His daughter.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Incest plays so much.
Right. So they're thinking that she might have replaced her mom. And that's why we don't see anything left.
That could have very well been it.
Yeah. And then another theory is that she became co-regent, so she ruled under a different name, which was Smenkare. Smenkara? Smenkara. Yeah, her different name was Smenkara, and she ruled even after he died. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, like, many think that, like, she continued to rule, but she just had a new name. So, like, the one who was going to follow up after her was Meritaten as well. So, because they had the same consort.
Oh.
Does that make sense? Like, it was going to be the same woman taking place after her.
Okay.
So that's kind of why they think that they had to be the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't found Smenkara. They've just seen records of her.
Ooh.
So, could possibly just be her, like, changing her identity again.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Spy.
I know, I'm like...
Freaky Friday. No, that's not right. That's switching bodies with someone.
Right? So now I'm going to be talking about, like, finding her, basically. They discovered the tomb of King Amenhotep II. It was excavated in 1898, where they found 3 mysterious mummies discovered behind a hidden wall.
Ooh.
So, they're like, oh, look at these mummies. 1898. So, look at these mummies. That's how they talk.
Mummies.
Mummies.
Because they're probably all British.
Mummy. Look at these mummies. Yeah. So, we kind of mentioned it, but Valley of the Kings is where they started to kind of look for these mummies. They found one to be a king, and then one of them they suspected to be Nefertiti. So they were like, maybe this is her. Because it was a female. So, really, that's the only evidence they had, but they were like, since they were like trying to think of, it has to be a queen, it has to be a pharaoh. Obviously, they didn't think it was her right away, because, like I said, they didn't even know she was a thing until like 1912.
Well, you would think she would be in Valley of the Queens.
Yeah.
Because that could have been like a secondary wife.
Yeah.
And then maybe his kids, depending on how many wives that he had.
Right. Well, let's talk about it. Again, they knew that whoever this body they found was, but they knew that she was female and that she was royal.
Secondary wife.
Right.
I'm giving it that.
So, in 2010, Zani Hawass, which is an Egyptian archaeologist, I probably just butchered his name, I'm so sorry, Zani. He announced that, because they took DNA tests on this mummy, like once they uncovered it and everything, and the face was smashed in.
Aww.
It was intense. Like, it looked like somebody, like, hit him hard. But they had DNA tests for these, and the DNA test proved that the mummy, known as, they were just calling it the younger lady, because they weren't sure who it was, was actually Akhenaten's sister. And it also showed that she was the mother of King Tut.
Oh!
Yeah, so they had, like, a weird connection. That was in 2010. In 2013, Mark Gidbold was like, you are wrong.
Oh.
Zani, you are wrong. So he's an Egyptologist, and he disputed any other conclusions that anybody had. He claimed that the mummy of younger lady was Nefertiti. If that is correct, think about the other relation, so King Tut. So if it's correct, that means that Nefertiti's son was King Tut. Because they know that part for sure. And they know that she, like, has to be on the side of Akhenaten. But this person was like, this has to be Nefertiti. So, it's still kind of like...
up in the air.
There's a lot of theories. There's a lot that they're still trying to discover. That was only in 2013. So...
I don't know.
I know.
Because the DNA said that, because they took it from both King Tut's body and then hers, and it says that the DNA is compatible.
Yeah. So.
But it's like...
whoever this woman is, King Tut is her son.
It could very well still be his sister, because if you look at bloodlines, like, they were so interconnected that they would still have some sort of relation, even if that is Akhenaten's sister.
Yeah, and this guy could have just been like, I know we're looking for Nefertiti, so I'm just going to pretend like... I don't know.
I don't know if she would be in Valley of the Kings, though.
Yeah.
With him.
When I was finishing my research, I saw a documentary that was all about, like, discovering new clues about her. Yeah. And I didn't have time to watch it, but I definitely want to watch that. It was, like, 2 hours long. And I was like, oh. But it goes into, like, them actually discovering, like, more clues about her, which is really fascinating.
What was that on?
I think it's on the Discovery Channel. Oh. But it was, if you go on YouTube and search Nefertiti, it's, like, the 4th one.
Oh, I might have to check that out.
Yeah, it looks really fascinating. I watched the beginning, but yeah, and then it just really goes into depth. So, but it is really long. I wish I would have found it like at the beginning of my research.
Yeah,
but found it like literally when I was done. So they have this like sculpture of her. Obviously, that was created. And this is like the picture that we see of her.
Yeah.
In this, she is shown with one blank eye. So one of her eyes is actually, like, doesn't have an eyeball. It's literally just, like, a clear passage. And so people have taken this and have investigated it and kind of come up with theories for why she's missing an eye. Like, the eye is still there, but there's nothing in it. So, I have some theories for that, too.
Oh,
these are pretty fascinating. And it's weird, if you think about it, that they're going to depict her with one eye when she's known for her beauty. So it's kind of
you can still be beautiful with one eye.
Well, yeah, but, like, she's known for being, like, the epitome of beauty. Like,
the perfect
and I'm going to explain that a little bit more. But, so this is what they think. They think that, and this is a big debate, like, they're still debating it, but the queen may have possessed a natural fold of skin over her eye, which happened a lot in Egypt at this time.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility. Could just be extra skin. It might have been an insult by the sculptor, or it could have even been damage that was done to it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, like over time or something. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the sculptor's name, because it's kind of fascinating. The sculptor's name was Tutmasa. He fell in love with her, like, throughout his life.
They always do.
She rejected him.
Well, because she was faithful to her unfaithful man.
Exactly. And so people think because she rejected him that he might have ruined her eye on purpose. Oh. But not as a mean way, in more of like a romantic way, because it could be like a symbol of inability to see his love. Get it? Like, see his love. No eye.
God, it's such a sculptor thing.
Right? Like, I could, as an artist, like, I could see that happening.
Yeah. You're heartbroken. Right. Like, you're working on her.
We don't know why her eye looks like that.
Yeah.
But it is really fascinating because it's literally just, like, there's a hole. There's no eyeball. But, anyway. Now, I talked about, obviously, like, she's known for her beauty. These are the features that she had that people literally sought after at the time. From what we know of, this is what they think she looked like.
Yeah.
She's depicted with a graceful long neck, right? And all the images, they're all like that in her sculptures, like that. She has, like, the perfectly arched eyebrows. Her face is perfectly proportioned. So, like, you can see, like, everything is just, like, straight, even. And her almond-shaped eyes is, like, her big thing.
You want to know why she was so beautiful?
Why?
Because incest was not involved. That's my guess.
I mean, maybe. But here's the interesting thing. They actually took that sculpture of her. They used CT scans. And this sculpture is the one that we talked about, the one made by him. It's 3,400 years old, roughly.
Oh, my God.
Okay. They took scans of it, so they, like, went into it and found her face underneath it, like the original face that they made. With this being said, they think that her face may not have been that beautiful in real life, and that it might have been actually looked a little bit different. So they actually found that there was, like on the original face that was underneath, there's, like, a bump on the nose ridge. Like, it looks like a normal, like, person.
Yeah.
But it's just not that, like, perfect depiction.
Photoshop!
Well, yeah.
3,000 years ago.
I wouldn't expect her to actually look like that. Like, and she had wrinkles on her cheeks. Well, obviously. Like, corners of her mouth, she had wrinkles. But they're not going to show that in a sculpture, you know? And her eyes weren't as, like, defined as they look. So they looked more realistic. So, it's just kind of interesting that, like, he had that originally and then it kind of changed.
Yeah.
So they thought that maybe because the sculptor was in love with her, that maybe it was, like, an idealized version of the queen because he, like, loved her for that. And that actually wasn't what she looked like. Or Akhenaten also could have insisted that she be portrayed as more beautiful than she actually was.
I would not be surprised by that.
So he'd be like, let's just make her look like this. And then she probably saw it and was like, that's not me. But okay.
That's not me.
Or she'll be like, all right, whatever, that's what everyone will think I look like. That works.
Catfish people.
All we know for sure is that her face probably looked different. But, I mean, I could think that goes with any of them.
Well, yeah, because with Hatshepsut, like, making herself look like a man, or even, like, Akhenaten, his statues, he made himself look more slender.
Right. You're gonna do that. Like, why not?
Yeah.
So, again, that was 1912 was when that sculpture was found, as well as, like, evidence that she existed. So, that sculpture actually ended up being, after they, like, investigated it, it ended up being displayed at the Noise Museum in Berlin. Now, there's a lot of history with this, because when the Nazis actually took power, they seized the museum's artwork, including this sculpture, and hid them away.
I want to cover this so bad.
Yeah. What Hitler's quote about, like, ruining her was, this is actually what he said. He said, I will never relinquish the head of the queen. But he's like, I'm still not going to give her back, but still, I'm not going to destroy it.
No, because it's too precious.
Yeah, so at least Hitler was like, you know what, I won't destroy it, it's fine. But then after Hitler died, we're definitely going to have to talk about that, because that'll be crazy. The American troops actually were able to locate it. It was in a salt mine, and they placed it in a museum in West Berlin.
Yep.
But in 2009, it returned back to the Noise Museum, which was rebuilt after being bombed in World War II.
Yeah.
And I think that's where she still is. That sculpture is.
Looks like I gotta go to Berlin.
Right? But, do you have anything to add on her?
I know that there is a huge, like, I guguess, monument of Akhenaten and Nefertiti, like, super deep.
Really?
In the desert. I can't remember what it's called. It's hidden. Like, it took them forever to find, but it's, like, different statues of him, but it also has, like, different portrayals of, or it has, like, the portrayal of Nefertiti, too, so that, like, also, this was during their reign when they built it, but,
interesting.
They built a lot, too.
Yeah.
They just changed so much.
Absolutely.
But what they did was dangerous. And they probably knew what they were doing was probably not going to take lightly, but once you're so dedicated to something, it's hard to stop it.
And it slowly got out of control. Like, in the beginning, it wasn't really like that, but then, like, once they realized they had the power, I think it got to them.
I think once they changed their names, people were like, okay, they're a little too obsessed.
Yeah.
And this is a problem. And,
for sure.
Did they ever say, like, what he died from? Like, did they ever find that out? I need to look into that. But I'm guessing, if he didn't die just because of, like, complications of his body, someone probably poisoned him.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I would not be surprised.
It's unknown because they aren't sure if they've actually found his remains or not. So they can't, like, investigate, like, if, like, he was...
Yeah. Well, they're still searching. Yeah. And it's so sad because tomb robberies are such a big thing that have just stopped a lot of the findings of bodies or just, like, the history of ancient Egypt, because there's so much that we could have known.
Yeah.
Because when they fill their tombs, they put so much shit in them to help them in the afterlife. And a lot of them were just because they were filled with jewels and gold and everything that they needed. And robbers knew this, and they're like, we got to get into them, and now we don't know.
Yeah.
King Tut was a huge stepping stone of, like, discovering of how much they really worship their kings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they were just like, thank God he's dead, but, like, they still had, from the day that they go into reign, they start their tombs. Like, they start to build them. And just seeing how...
That's crazy.
Yeah, seeing how big King Tut's is, like...
Yeah.
He only lived till he was 18. Imagine if you reigned for over 50 years.
Yeah, and
how
massive. I think Nefertiti was like 40 when she died.
Yeah.
And another theory I saw was that she possibly committed suicide because one of her daughters died. But, again, we don't know for sure. Because of the one that they found that has the thing.
Yeah.
It looked like it was, like, trying to squish itself.
Oh.
Or it could have been done by someone. Who knows?
I think she was murdered.
I think so, too. I think both of them were murdered.
We don't know if this is factual. We're just assuming.
No, we're making a theory.
Oh.
Akhenaten had to have been murdered because he was the worst and he was about to ruin everything.
Oh, yeah, he had to be stopped. Or it was just the gods being like, dude, you're not repping us. We gotta let you go.
Yeah.
It's like firing him.
We gotta let you go, I'm sorry.
Pretty much.
You have 2 weeks.
You have 2 weeks. In your 2 weeks, empty your desk.
I think that's my favorite thing about history is that, like, you'll never know all the information.
No, especially ancient history is one of the hardest because it's so difficult to write or to, because Herodotus is technically the first historian.
Yeah.
And he wrote on ancient Egypt, and his interpretation of Egypt is completely different from what they thought. So there's always going to be different views of how things were done. It's easier now because we have social media to immediately, and even then that's like super...
It can get out of hand.
Yeah, it's super
the news
controversial.
Can say it's wrong.
Exactly, but it's just history was so much harder because you had so many interpretations and you couldn't tell which one was real. It's still history. A lot of it is still factual, but you have to take with ancient history like this with a grain of salt because you don't know. Mm-hmm. Because we only know what they've written.
Yeah, there's probably a lot more.
Well, yeah, because if you look at the 2 stories that we've shared today, that they changed their identity to become more powerful. Yeah. That's just how it is. And so you have to take it as just, well, this is what we found by them. You have to be open-minded when you start to research history. You have to think, well, this could have been, Ruby, sorry, I have my cat on my lap. She's just like clawed into my leg. But that's just history itself. You have to be open-minded. You have to look at both sides without being biased, which is nearly impossible to do. Yeah. Because, of course, even if you look at even this, there's so much incest within this family, or just within ancient Egypt, you can't let that, your bias of like, oh my God, that's so gross.
Right, because we don't know. We don't know their culture. We don't know what was happening. Like,
yeah, and it's so frustrating when...
It's the norms now, but it doesn't mean it was the norms then.
No, that's just literally how they ran their society, and like, you have to be open-minded if you're going to really study history. Yeah. And a lot of people just can't do that, and it's just like, then don't read it.
They're like, I want to know all the answers. Like, I think that's the fun part, is like learning all the theories and like being like, what do I believe? Like, there's a lot of facts here. Like,
yes, finding the answers, you're never going to find a clear answer. There's always going to be more to the story that you probably will not know. Mm-hmm.
It's like with everything, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening.
Thank you. What is your...
oh, crap.
What did you learn today?
Oh, man. I think I'm going to go off of what we were just talking about. I mean, I always go by this, but this will be my advice for everybody. Mm-hmm. Stay curious.
Yeah,
and that's going to sum it up, because honestly, like, don't think you know everything, because you don't.
No.
And you're never going to.
No.
So you got to get over your ego. Not you specifically, but like people in general. What's your advice?
Be a bad bitch.
Rule the freaking... Be the king.
Be the king, yeah. But yeah, be a bad bitch like these two ladies today. Miss Nefertiti and Hatshepsut.
Yeah.
I love them.
Don't let anyone tell you can't do what you want to do.
Yeah, no, they... Even though not a lot... In these two situations, they did it for...
Yeah.
Interesting reasons. But, like, they still took control of wanting to be more than what society told them to be. Mm-hmm. And y'all follow that. Like, don't follow the incest or some of the crazy shit that they did, but follow that. Like, don't follow society standards that you can't be in charge.
We're deep tonight. These are, like, deep things.
Oh, I fucking love ancient Egypt.
We're gonna go watch Cruella now, so...
I'm so excited.
We're gonna go to the movies.
Yay.
Party!
I'm Jamie.
This is Kylie. Did we not tell them our names at the beginning?
No.
We didn't?
No.
Jesus. I'm Kylie.
This has been Historia.
Sorry, I always forget to tell you our names. Thank you for listening.
We appreciate it.
Follow us on... Oh, I should probably say. Yeah. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, because what we have right now, it's all Historia the Podcast. If you want to send in a request, a story, a comment...
Yeah.
Anything, really. historiathepodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you.
Bye.
We gotta make a better outro.
We need, like, a saying. You know, like... All right.